So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast. And welcome everybody, it's Dan. Hope you're well today. So happy Friday as we're well into November. And in today's session I want to talk to you about motivation, because as the nights are getting colder, the darkness seems to come even earlier, doesn't it? I know we had daylight saving, which kind of ruins everybody. I think it just kind of gets very confusing. Like, how do you tell dogs that the hours have changed and the clocks have gone forwards or backwards? Dogs kind of don't understand that. So all their dinner times and their wake up times and sleep times are all confused. And then humans, I'm just generally confused, let alone daylight saving. But as the nights are getting colder and they're drawing in, and as we're heading towards the end of the year, I think people find it more challenging to stay motivated because their customers, they don't want to buy. Increasingly so, more people are thinking about Christmas and the end of the year. And even though it's only in November, obviously we've just had bonfire night if you're in the UK with all the fireworks going off. And I think it can just feel like people have shut down or are beginning to shut down. And so that any work that you do now really not really going to get you much of a reward. And I don't necessarily agree with that. And I also think that those companies that are slowing down for Christmas, when they start up again in January, it takes a heck of a lot of energy for them to get momentum going into January. Whereas I think that if you haven't lost your momentum throughout November and December, when you hit January, you're actually going to hit the ground running. And that's obviously what we want you to do in your business as well. But there's a couple of things that I think you could be doing right now if the markets have slowed down a little bit. Obviously, you might be in retail, you might be selling stuff anyway, in which case your markets have actually increased because we're in gifting season, right? It's always gifting season for something. But for everybody else who's doing B2B type stuff or in property, it tends to slow down. But I think there's an opportunity there right now for you to go and, for example, create content. You know, if you could create content over the next 2 months that you can get ready for January and February. This is a little bit like, you know, the printing companies right now are creating Easter holiday type related printing. And Christmas was printed months and months ago, and it was designed back in April or May. And I think you should really be getting ahead of the game in your business as well. And I do think that one of those things that can help massively is that if you've got some kind of monthly target going on, then that would help massily because that will keep you motivated. And the type of monthly target that you might want to consider is, for example, how many strategy sessions are you having? What's your website visitors looking like? Is that increasing or is that going down? How many viewings have you had on your properties? Or how many views are you having on your videos? And what's that looking like? And so you can work out some of the different things that you can do to, you know, put a stopgap in that. You know, it's the videos that you can create and film today that could be distributed for the next 6 weeks as we go into the Christmas period, just to keep people seeing you on their timeline. And then if they need what you sell, they're going to click it and then they're going to land on your website and hopefully they're going to buy. So having a monthly target can really help. And a monthly target is not just something that you write on the wall and then you never look at again. Your monthly targets should be on your desk. Here's mine. Don't show you what they are, of course, but here's mine. They're on my desk. They're always there. They're staring me in my face. And if I'm sat around, because I've done everything, that never happens. But if it were to happen, and I'm sat around and I'm looking for, what can I do? I could look at my goals for this month. I could look at my monthly target and go, well, you know, I've not hit the viewers numbers on videos, so what other videos can I create? How many more thousands of views can I get on video creation, for example? So having that monthly target, it doesn't have to be hitting 10 grand a month, let's say, or it doesn't have to be just on YouTube views. How many face-to-face meetings have you had? How many phone call meetings have you had? There's all these different ways that you can have a target that's going to help you stick to doing the things that you know that will move your business forward. So doing live stream content, for example, or filming videos and putting those out there, you know that they're the things that are going to help you get your views. And so you can start planning some of those, not just for this week and for today, let's say, but for the rest of this month and going into December as well. And then another really good way of motivating yourself is having a profit and loss statement. One of the things I've just done this weekend, I'm just going to pull it up actually. I'm not going to show you it, but I'm going to pull it up. One of the things I did this weekend was on Xero, I did all my bank reconciliations, which I've not done for a while, which is a bit naughty. But we've just been so busy with clients and so on. But one of the things I love is when I pull up on Xero, which is accounting software, by the way, and I can go into Xero and I can go to reports and I can find out my profit and loss for this financial year. And the reason why that's so motivating is that you can see what months you've had a loss and what months you've had a profit. And you want to be, ideally, you want to be able to compare these with the previous ones. So previous month, there we go. And then we can compare on each month by month and we can see where we've made a loss, where we've made a profit. And then we can work out where we're going to spend the money that we generate from clients and where that's going to go to be invested in the business so that we can then grow the business. And so knowing your current profit and loss statement is so vitally important. I was just checking that I'd not missed the P off profit there. I couldn't see it. But this is so important that if you can get this in place, you can look at where your profit is and where your loss is and what work you then need to do in order to catch that back up. So for example, where are we? Our month to date so far, we've got a small loss of £236, right? And by the way, it's month to date, which means that actually not all our income's coming obviously this month, and we've got more income coming in. And we know that actually we're in profit this month because I've got a spreadsheet with all my profit and loss on as well, which is kind of like a guesstimate as to what you think's going to happen this month. But when you look at Xero will tell me what's actually happened so far this month, and it's only the 8th, and we've got a £236 loss. So it's like, where can we find additional cash flow? And then I can compare that with what our guesstimation is going to look like, and that can tell me actually we're down this month, we need to go out and close more business, or actually we're up this month. How about instead of just relaxing on being up this month, how about we go and close some more clients ready for next month? We can get ahead of the game, and that's where the growth will come from our business. And I think what happens is that people are just so focused on current clients, bringing in new clients. They don't really take a snapshot of where they are and where their business is. And then the other thing that they don't do, which I think is a really, really good idea, is they should look at year-to-date revenue. And then they should compare that year-to-date revenue with last year's year-to-date revenue and the year before and the year before and the year before. And we're really lucky because our revenue is constantly increasing every single year. And at some point, obviously, it's going to peter out, I should imagine. We kind of thought it might have done that this year, but actually we're ahead of the game again, which is great. We've got really good growth. But this is really motivational because if we're making a loss this month, which we are, £236, like, okay, let's go close £500 worth of business. And then what's the process of closing £500 worth of business? Is that more strategy sessions, more meetings, more phone calls, more videos, more content going out? And then is our sales message, is that on track? And our website, is that mobile friendly? I just checked it this morning. There was a page that wasn't mobile friendly. So we've updated that. So there's all these different things that looking at your profit and loss can enable you to go, I need to do this bit and this bit and this bit. And that's really motivational. At least I find it motivational. I think you will as well. So then the next one is what plans have you got for next year? So already we're looking at our summer holiday. Now we had a big summer holiday this year. Went to America for 3 weeks. Absolutely mind-blowingly good. Superb. Next year is a smaller year. So we have a big year and a small year. A big year and a small year. And that's how we like to do it. And so actually next year we're going to go to France. It's drivable. It's 8 hours away. So we'll do that in 2 days. We've got Centre Parks lined up for 10 days there. I think it's 10 days. And we went to Centre Parks not last year but the year before. Had a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Just really good cycling around everywhere, playing tennis and going for walks and having barbecues, and it was just really nice as a family to go. And so that was really big. And then also we're looking at, well, what training courses do I want to go on next year? What's the plan for that? And so looking at some of those will enable me to look at number one, because I've already looked at profit and loss and, well, how much money extra do we need to earn in order to go do, let's say, Funnel Hackers Live, which is in February. We may do that, we may not do that. It's his last one, so we may go do that as a one-off experience. We were going to do it a couple of years ago, and then COVID hit, and so we couldn't go, and we've not been since. But it allows me then to go, okay, I want to do this one. Bali in November next year, Billionaire Bootcamp again. I missed it this year for a number of reasons. One, because it overlapped my child's birthday weekend, which is this weekend. Two, our dog goes in for a very large operation next week, and we want to spend as much time with her as possible. But we're going to have that lined up for next week. And all these things obviously cost money. So because they cost money, we need to make sure we've got enough money to be able to pay for them. And the money should be generated by the business to some extent. Some of it will come from property, of course, like the holiday. But, Funnel Hackers Live is for the business. So the business needs to find the extra £3,000 to pay for it. And, even though we're in more than profit on that than the £3,000 it's going to cost, I still want to maintain our profits. I don't want to reduce our profits just because I want to go to Funnel Hackers Live. We want to increase profits, not decrease them. Otherwise, what's the point in going? Might as well just keep it as profit. So these are the things to organise for 2025 that I find when I sit down and I work out, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, and this is what it's going to cost, and this is how much extra money you need to earn, so you're not making a loss in the business because you're now doing these things. That is really motivational for me, and it's kind of like a towards motivation as opposed to an away from motivation. Let's talk about away from motivations. Away from motivation is where you're in pain right now. So let's say you're overweight, you're 20 stone, and so you go on a diet and you hit the gym, and now you're down to 12 stone because you're fed up of being overweight, and so you've lost weight. It's an away from the pain motivation. Booking things in for next year is a towards motivation. Like Funnel Hackers Live sounds like it's going to be really cool. Billionaire Bootcamp, that'll be cool. Going to Centre Parks again, that'll be cool. That's something to look forward to, and it's a motivation towards type motivation. The motivation away is if you take a look at last year, and what were some of the things that you wanted to do last year, but you couldn't do them last year because you didn't have the finances in place. And so it could have been, let's say, Funnel Hackers Live. You didn't have the cash, you wanted to go, but you couldn't go because you couldn't afford it. It's like, well, that's painful. Maybe it was your own family holiday, and you not had a holiday for a while, you wanted to take the family away on holiday, and you couldn't afford to do that, so you felt bad there. This is what we call an away from motivation, and both towards and away are both very useful. But interestingly, the away from motivation is more powerful than the toward motivation. So if you see your finances are bobbing up and down, and it's the same in anything, your health, your relationships, whatever that happens to be, it's all bobbing up and down. And it's because, like with finances, you do enough work to get away from the pain of not having enough money. And then now because you've got enough money, you stop doing the work. And then now you're in pain again because you've not got enough money. So now you do the work again, so you're away from the pain. And it's just going round on this cycle. And this is literally the cycle. It's up and down all the time. The towards motivation will move you away from this, and it will flatline that a little bit more so that you never actually end up in pain. You're just always looking forwards to what's about to happen. And there's a downside to never being in pain, by the way. And the downside to never being in pain is that you're not in pain. So the motivation disappears, which is why we want to translate the away from motivation to something a little bit more positive. You want to go to America next year. You want to do Funnel Hacking Life, which is in America as it happens. You want to go to Bali and do Billionaire Bootcamp. Come and join me. You want to do a nice holiday with your family. All those things need needs money, cash flow. You need a new car. You want a bigger house. And so the towards motivation is also very powerful, but it's not as powerful as the away from motivation. Things like dream boards are very powerful because you have to think about what is it that you actually want. Where would you stay in Bali if you went to Billionaire Bootcamp? What would the hotel look like? How much would that cost? How much money do you need for food? Not a lot, by the way. But it all has to be budgeted. And then knowing it's going to cost you, let's say, $4,000 for the hotel and the flights and the food, the training's extra, of course. And that's another $5,000 on top, so it's $9,000. Well, that's £900 a month times 10 months. And people will go, oh my God, I'm not spending $9,000. But then when you go, oh, it's £900 a month for 10 months, I can afford, that's $9,000. Oh, I'll put that on a car, or I'll put that on a holiday, I'll put that on whatever, a deposit on a house, or whatever it's going to be, the next investment property. That's how we do it. And that's a very towards motivated way of looking at the world. But certainly looking at what you couldn't do last year is a very demotivating. I wouldn't say demotivating, because it's actually motivating, because you're looking at something that you couldn't do and you're feeling bad. And for a lot of us, that's actually quite motivating. Anyway, very quick one today because we're in a rush and we've got a ton of stuff that we've got to get done. But I do hope you find that useful. In the meantime, have yourself a wicked weekend and we will catch up with you next week. Have a good one. Take care. Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.